For over 20 years, Eric Nate's Euro Hockey has been helping hockey players of all ages develop their individual skills and improve on all aspects of their game. Through structured drills and innovative training equipment, Eric Nate's Euro Hockey's intense on-ice instruction challenges each student to be the best at their ability. Find a hockey clinic or summer camp that is right for you today at nateshockey.com. That's Nates hockey.com. Eric Nate's Euro Hockey, train to be the best. And welcome into the New England Hockey Journal's RinkWise Podcast. I'm your host, Evan Marinofsky, joined today by Patrick Donnelly. Pat, this might be the first time all month, no prep hockey talk, no high school hockey talk. It's a little different today. We have a lot of people here.
Yeah, I'm excited. No JSPR, no algorithms, no seedings, no nothing. We're excited to give people a change of pace from our voices today.
So today's a little different. We're joined today by Ray LeBlanc. We're joined today by Germaine Tabor, Mass Hockey President, and Kip St. Germain, because big day coming up. We're recording this February 6th. You'll be hearing this in early February at some point. February 22nd, Mass Hockey's third adaptive hockey day, the East Coast Jumbos at Level Arena from 10:20 a.m. to 6:10 p.m. We'll start with you, Ray, because you're kind of taking point on this. How excited are you for this event?
Very good. Well, I apologize. I have to correct you on something. It's not being hosted by the East Coast Jumbos. The East Coast Jumbos are one of the programs that are involved with Mass Hockey.
Perfect.
So what we are doing is we're displaying all 6 USA hockey disciplines that are there. And what we start off with is blind, deaf, sled, special, standing amputee, and warrior. Those are all 6 different divisions or disciplines we cover, and we'll have games all day long displaying them. And our goal is to bring more of those individuals into hockey and to showcase that to everybody else on how great of a game it can be.
Can you take us back through your experience with the Jumbos, with adaptive hockey, and everything that you've done over the past bunch of years?
Sure. Almost 20 years ago, we started the East Coast Jumbos, where my oldest boy is autistic, and I have 2 other boys that play typical hockey, and he was always being dragged to rinks, and we had a rink in the backyard, and he liked to skate, but there was really no place for him to play. So we started up the program with 4 or 5 kids, and almost 20 years later, we're about 70 now. So
70.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah, I know you just started as Mass Hockey President. What was it, in the fall of 25? Over the summer. Okay. How has adaptive hockey kind of come into your day-to-day, and what's your view and how you supported it?
Sure. So I joined the Mass Hockey Board about 6 years ago. I've been involved in youth hockey in the state for about 12 years. And in the early days of my involvement, I was in Pembroke Youth Hockey and, always looking for, additional ways to get more kids on the ice. And it's all about growing the game in the non-traditional areas. And so it's something that was near and dear to us on the South Shore. There's a program in Duxbury, the Great Blizz, that does a great job. And originally that was my first kind of intro into looking at adaptive hockey in different disciplines. Joining the Mass Hockey Board a few years ago, got introduced to Ray and his team and the adaptive committee, which I was a part of in the when I first got involved. And then as the president of Mass Hockey, just in the last 8 to 9 months, this is just fully supporting the 3rd annual event. But 2 years ago, when we first started this event, Ray tasked me to, kind of be behind getting a lot of the volunteers to show up each for the day, and whether it be to help kids that are arriving with their sleds and bringing them into the rink, or just helping kids check in, or helping some of the blind or deaf kids around the rink. There was a lot of involvement there where we were able to get local high school hockey players wearing their jerseys, being a part of a team, and showing all the participants in the adaptive day how important it was just that you are a part of a team and you're a real hockey player.
And Ray, you were saying that a ton of prep kids and high school hockey players in Massachusetts volunteer and help out with this, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of our programs, and doesn't really matter the discipline, we utilize those guys as volunteers for us, and some of us need it. It's a lot of prep is involved, a lot of typical things that you don't do with a regular program that needs to get done. So you need a lot of hands on ice. And those guys, I find, are some of the best kids to be involved with the program. They love it. It's one of the things I never anticipated getting into this end of hockey or really cared about. And then all of a sudden I said, wow, it's really making an impact on these kids as much as it is the kids that are in the adults that are in our programs.
You were telling me Bob Joyce, when he wasn't the president anymore, when he stepped down, he was like, I'm done with coaching.
Yeah.
And then he went to an East Coast Jumbos practice.
Yeah.
Things changed.
Yeah, it's a funny story. So he had, Bob has 4 children just like myself, and they had all finished their hockey time. He had promised the wife, like we all do, that we're going to be done hockey at some point, which usually is a lie. But he said, yeah, I'm all done. And I said, hey, before you step away from being president, why don't you just come and I'd like to introduce you to the kids on the team. I want them to meet some people too. I like doing new experiences for these guys, and this would be a nice case. And he walked in, and then he walked home. Drove home that day and said, I'm not done coaching. And he's been one of our regular guys ever since. So it's great. It's a great story. We sucked him back in. It's hard to leave. It's hard to leave the game of hockey. It really is.
And this too. And Kip, your story and how you've become involved in Mass Hockey Adaptive's Day. Can you kind of give us sort of your background in hockey?
So I grew up playing typical hockey, able-bodied, through youth hockey down at Galloway Arena and then at Tabor Academy. And then in June of '89, I had a spinal cord injury that left me permanently confined to a wheelchair, and ended up finding the non-traditional hockey, sled hockey. Program was getting started here in Boston, and went and checked it out and fell in love with hockey all over again, and then took it from there. And it's 30 plus years. It's been a whirlwind journey. It's brought me around the world and some incredible experiences, and meet folks like Jeremiah and Ray, and they're doing a tremendous job promoting the game and adaptive hockey for all the other disciplines.
Weren't you saying that when you went and checked out sled hockey, you were in a suit?
First time I saw it, yes. I snuck out of work at lunchtime, was sitting in the stands eating my lunch, just watching to see what the game was all about. And they got me out in a sled, in my suit jacket and tie. And about an hour and a half later, I was like, I got to go back to work.
It's good workout in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
That's not a bad workout.
But, like I said, I fell in love with hockey all over again. Skated with that team for about 4 hours. Then we took the team up to Toronto, where I saw Team USA playing Team Canada. And back then, Team USA was a bunch of guys from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa area that had gone out and picked up some USA jerseys on their own and called themselves USA, and went up to play a group of guys in Canada that did the same thing. But I didn't know the difference. In my mind, I realized or thought that there was a whole nother level to the sled hockey that I could actually, try and set a goal for. And, the rest is history. I ended up going and trying out for the team in late 1994 and got a letter saying, welcome to the national team in January of 1995.
And you won a gold medal in 2002, correct?
I won a gold medal in 2002 at Salt Lake City in the shootout against Norway, and bronze medal in 2006 in Italy. And our U.S. Paralympic team has won gold medal every Paralympic since, and we'll be shooting for their 5th straight gold medal.
And we love to promote things on here. Big thing coming on Peacock next week, right? Or 2 weeks from now?
Well, coming out soon.
There's
a documentary on our 2002 team. Be a 2-hour documentary. Working title right now is Ice Gold. So looking forward to it.
I think Ray told us earlier you scored the game winner in that gold medal game.
In the shootout.
Shootout?
I did, yes.
What do you remember from that?
I was fortunate. I was the 4th shooter. It was tied up 2-2. And Joe Howard had gone down and went to the right and shot high left, and Chris Manns had gone, was our only left-hand shot, went down and broke left and shot high right. Sylvester, who was our first shooter, tried to deke the goalie, and it didn't work out. So going down, I knew as long as I didn't lose the puck, I was in good shape. Once I had the goalie, his hands down to back up to move his sled, it opens up the whole top. So, as I was skating by him, I went top right-hand corner.
Nice. Wow. Yeah, I'm excited to watch that, because then I'll be like, oh my gosh, Kip last week, it's saw him. I want to get into sort of how it's growing in Massachusetts. You mentioned, Ray, that it's grown from 4 kids to 70 in the last bunch of years. Jeremiah, how do you see adaptive hockey growing in Massachusetts and your time as president?
So just recently, we have a brand new deaf team that Ray was a part of getting started, the Boston Defenders. Very cool jersey and logo. We should actually sell those, Ray.
They are.
They are selling them.
We'll sell them on the website.
The team is making some money from them. Good. They deserve it. But, so there's teams that are popping up. There's new players that are coming out. We have a lot of partnerships with folks like Spalding, with folks, not only being promoted from USA Hockey, but our adaptive committee is all about growth and all about getting, from events. Just recently we held, and I'll let Ray maybe give a little more detail, but last week or 2 weeks ago, we held a adaptive goalie clinic, and we had goalies come out and work with Cam Earl, who's our Massachusetts hockey goalie coordinator from USA Hockey. And, it's just getting kids off of, there's two things to it. One, you want to get kids that are interested in the game on the ice, as many as we can. Two, these kids want to be athletes. They don't want to be called, they don't want to be inspiration to other people. They don't want to, Kip's laughing because he's probably been told this is, talking about this forever, but they don't want your sympathy.
Yep.
They're athletes, and they want to be called athletes. They want to be treated like athletes. They want that team environment. And so we're just so thrilled that we can give them some type of environment that is getting to that level for them.
Yeah. He brings up a good point. With that goalie clinic that we did, we had special represented, we had warrior represented, we had deaf represented, and we also had standing amputee represented. All those disciplines were in the clinic. And we ran that like a regular goalie clinic. One of my other boys is a goalie, and he's been to a million clinics, and there wasn't much difference. We had Cam in there with his coaches that are high school, college coaches, and they're running the same drills with these guys, but we adapted the way that we delivered the message or delivered the drill, and those kids were able to experience what a able body or typical goalie would be doing regularly. So it was a good night. It was a great time.
And just recently in Massachusetts, we hosted USA Hockey, gave us the brand for that event and gave us the opportunity to host the USA Hockey Blind Hockey Classic up in Wellesley. And it was a multi-day event that Ray ran with a team, and it was unbelievable. Ray, how many kids did we have come from all over the country?
So they recently started this tournament maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that. And the highest number they had ever gotten was like in the 40s. And we pounded the pavements, we did our work, and we got the word out, and we had 63 kids registered. So all across, and the national team used that almost as like a tryout team for their stuff. So it's a little bit different than typical hockey where there isn't that many teams. Mm-hmm. So you register as an individual, and then we separated them into 3 different groups: the red, white, and blue teams, divisions. And depending on your level, they played in that. So it was great. It had some great competition, had some high-end competition. And then it also has a young group from Philly that came up where they're 4 or 5-year-old kids and 6-year-old kids that are just starting. So it was really like, I can't believe these guys are playing this level, to the look at these kids. They look awesome. It was a really cute moment.
How cool is that to see at such a young age, kids getting involved with hockey like that?
Oh, it's awesome. And Jeremiah brought up like the partnership where we had it at the BSI in Wellesley, where the Junior Eagles, they helped us with the ice. They were involved with some volunteer stuff. So we talked about that before, about how we're bringing in other parts of hockey to be there to support those guys too. And they were the talk of the town. There was other games going on in that weekend, but everyone was like, what's going on in that rink there? What's that about? And we had a display showing the different things that blind hockey has, like the pucks and the whistles, and we had a table and people were just stopping all weekend long. Like, what? How do you do this? How do they do this? So it was a great chance to educate a lot of people on how blind hockey plays,
So we also are running pretty soon, coming up, I forget the date exactly, it's in the next couple of weeks, Adaptive for Free, Try Hockey for Free Day. Well, this is Adaptive Day for free. And so we're encouraging folks to come out and try it. We'll have some skates, we'll have maybe some equipment for folks, but it's to really get kids that haven't tried it yet, that maybe haven't felt comfortable, and we can help them and get them on the ice just for the day. So that's something that Ray and his team and his committee is also part of.
A lot of people talk about how hockey is expensive in general, and it of course it is. How is the price points with adaptive hockey? Is it much different? I'm kind of curious there, what that's like.
The same.
The same. Okay.
Unfortunately.
It's the same.
Now, we do have some great rink partners. We have some great program partners and we have some, folks that have provided in donations to that group. But at the same time, the ice is the ice. And,
Yep.
The biggest issue in the whole state right now is the cost for an hour of ice, whether it's 50 minutes or an hour. The rink owners like that 50-minute sheet. They squeeze one more out of you.
Yeah.
Of course.
And with the Try Adaptive for Free Day, is that in one location? I know you can't remember the day off the top of your head, but where is that going to be?
We'll have to get back to you.
Okay.
That's
But
fine.
We'll make sure the information.
You know,
is
it's-
out.
It'll be in the
we've got
Mass Hockey
a couple of different.
newsletters.
Yeah, we have a couple
Yeah.
of different things in the works. But one of the things we do have a set date is we have an open skate for blind and low vision, where we find that they're kind of need to be by themselves because we've all been to those free skates at your local rink on a Saturday morning where there's a little 8-year-old who's flying around.
Yep.
Like that's not the kid we want being around
Yes.
someone who's not seeing too much from his left or his right? So we've got those two dates. It's a February 15th and March 22nd. That'll be at the Daily Rink in Newton, where and it's not just about hockey either. It's just an open skate. So if a family with someone, a mom or a dad that wants to come out where there's an opportunity to skate without that little
Yeah.
kid that can fly, right? We don't want him around them and, playing bowling with people, right?
Yeah.
Knocking them all down. We don't want that. So those are the kinds of things that we are, that date that's planned. The other stuff we're still in the works. And Jeremiah knows, we just keep on going. We just try new stuff, trying to.
Maybe the last thing I'll say on like our partnerships and the growth part of it, none of it is possible without the help of the Bruins and our local NHL partners. And whether it be through Glenn Thoroborough, who's, on the Bruins executive committee, and then Bob Sweeney, Mike Dargan, Lizzie Viola, they do an amazing job of, not only committed to growth across the state for us, but they are supporting a lot of different programs with Mass Hockey. So I do want to give a shout out to the Bruins. Thank you very much for your support.
So it's a segment of the Learn to Play, because I know
It is.
Dargan and Lizzie
That's right,
are with them as well, right?
Yeah, it's actually an addition to the Learn to Play because Ray was just on the ice for the national anthem the other day with a handful of kids from different disciplines in the adaptive.
The Bruins hockey is for everyone night. So they invited us to be blue line captains for the day for that. So the kids got to skate out, stand next to one of the players during the national anthem and then skate out. And then they provided a bunch of tickets for the families to come and see these guys. So we were able to represent 5 of our disciplines on the ice at that point. We left the Warriors out because they have a military appreciation night.
Yep.
So that was kind of more in their world where they have more of their people or whatever their group, you know what I mean, that they could enjoy better. Where we were able to get 5 different disciplines. And one of those kids is, and I want to bring this out because it's a textbook of what Mass Hockey, USA Hockey is pushing about learn to skates to attract people to the game. So we did a learn to skate for the blind community. And we had a gentleman come out, 20-year-old kid. His brothers and sisters were big hockey players, but he wasn't a hockey guy. He gets on the ice and he is literally hugging the boards. He's scared. He's not sure what's going on. An hour and a half later, we've got him in front of the net and he's hitting one-timers. 3 weeks later, we had him in that tournament. 3 months later, he's skating at the Garden for the blue line captains. He skates out there and gets. I mean, it's great. It's a great story. A great story. It's awesome. And now he comes to practice with me every week. He comes with one of our groups and we kind of have somebody with him so nobody can take him out from the left where you can't see things coming. So, but we're growing the blind side. We've got some things worked in for probably in the fall. We'll have some skates for blind hockey. We'll get a team soon. We're going to get there.
And with the blind hockey, you mentioned the event you had at the BSI and all the display on the table was turning heads. It was getting everybody's attention. Can you show us
Sure.
what this is?
Sure. A couple of props I have here is this is a puck that they use. It's a little bit different than the regular rubberized puck, and it's a metal puck with 8 BBs inside. And as they hit the puck around, rattle them. Okay. And everybody's picking up on that and they're whacking it around. It's a little bit easier to see and it's a little better to hear. They start the game off like this. Typically, I didn't tell you about this. The cost. Got a guess on what the cost is for this puck?
Oh,
Probably way too much than
Way too much.
Yeah.
$60.
Wow.
oh my
Around that
God. And the other one that you have is all beat up. That's just from a game, right?
That's one game.
That's after the game.
That's after the game. So you don't really have a real lifetime relationship with that puck. He's playing once or twice and he's gone. All right. So for $60, right?
Yeah, tomato can.
Right? Tomato can, right? And then so one of the other things is,
I do have to say real quick, Ray, I think that puck looks that way because the PWHL practice, they were using this puck at the same time we were there. And that might have been Megan Keller taking some slap shots.
well,
They should be getting you a new puck.
I won't disagree with that, but on the national level, the Canadians and U.S. have a pretty good rivalry back and forth. Right now, the Canadians have the upper hand on us. That it wouldn't even look that good. Their pucks, they annihilate the pucks. And it's mostly the boards. It's not the sticks that are beating it up. It's when they're shooting pucks against the board. So I guess we could say that the Canadian teams missed the net out.
Clearly. Can you explain? You were explaining this to us before we came on. The how they do it with goalies in blind hockey.
Yeah, so there's different levels of blind or low vision that are involved with the game, and they classify them as like B1, B2, B3 in international play, and then some local stuff at B4 too. B1 is more is 100%. You're not seeing anything. I apologize for not knowing the technical numbers on what everything is, but and then it progresses all the way up to B2, B3, and B4. B1 is what the goalie has to be. So the goalie has to be completely blind, which is kind of insane if you think about it in the world. I mean, in typical hockey, goalies are usually the craziest guys on the ice anyways. Now you throw them, they can't see anything coming. So that's even worse. One of the modifications is the net is a foot lower. It's the same width, but it's a foot lower. What they're trying to do is discourage all those high riskers that are going in and that guy taking it off the head. And another thing that they do is once they have to gain the blue line in the offensive zone, and at that point make a pass. They can't just shoot once they get into the zone. And once they get into the zone, they give the goalie a warning. Okay? The goalie will put his hand up, do that. And that is giving the goalie the heads up that a shot could be coming at your way very soon. So those are some of the, but after that, it's pretty much the same hockey, right, Kip? I mean, it's not much different after that. Hockey's hockey.
Kip, I'm curious, like when you started playing in '94, how you've seen adaptive hockey change over the years. Are you encouraged by it? How do you want to see it kind of keep moving forward?
It's been fantastic. When I got started, it was really just hearing impaired and sled. So now you're seeing standing amputee came along, special hockey, blind, and warrior. Again, when I got started, we started in the U.S. totally backwards. We started with a national team for the sled hockey team, and out of that grew club team programs instead of starting at the grassroots and building up. 2002, when we won the gold medal, we saw a huge explosion in club teams starting up around the country. But it's been great to see the different disciplines and club teams at all levels, youth and adult, popping up around the country, creating leagues and more competition and just opportunities for kids and adults to get out there and enjoy the game.
How do you see it growing and continuing to grow?
Young kids want to get involved. Next month we'll be watching the Paralympics, and again we'll be watching Team USA hopefully go for the 5th gold medal in the Paralympics for sled hockey, and to watch someone like a Declan Farmer, who I saw get started at as a teenager, or a Brody Roybal, who I guess at 8 years old. The young kids want to imitate those guys, just like in able-bodied hockey. Everybody wants to get to the NHL. The young kids want to get to the Paralympics and get their own gold medal. So they look up to the Josh Pauls and the Jack Wallaces and the Noah Groves and whatnot, and they want to have their opportunity. So they get out there and they put the effort in.
If I could jump in, I think that's why we started the Adaptive Day, is to expose these different disciplines and these different places that all these different kinds of kids, different walks of life, different levels can see what they could do, and also educate parents. You know, as a parent of somebody who has some issues, you're always protective. I don't want him to get hurt. You know, so you get that a kid who has a blind or a low vision. I'm not letting him on the ice. No way. What are you, crazy? Right? And so now they're out there seeing it happen and say, all right, well, we'll give this a chance. If he wants to do this, we'll let him try it. So that's one of our things that we're really trying to push, is to expose it and to educate and give it a try. We're not saying it's going to be great for you or whatever. Just, it's there. We want to build them. Hopefully they'll come.
The other thing too is once they get out there as an athlete, you know, you're having fun. You're around people that are similar to yourself. And, you know, going back to the we don't want to be called inspirational. I've been quoted before. There's, you know, at the Paralympics, we didn't want to embarrass ourselves, but we wanted to prove to not only to ourselves and our family and friends and community, but the world, that we were athletes first that happen to have a disability. And we played the game of hockey. Giving kids that opportunity, that helps build their confidence. They start taking a little bit more chances and getting out there and trying more new things. So it's that helps with the growth as well. You know, and, you know, one of the things I took out, you know, my experience is how we do things here in Massachusetts. You know, it's different than some of my teammates in Texas or Minnesota or something like that. I get exposed to other sports, you know, whether it's wheelchair lacrosse or tennis or whatever the case may be, different types of wheelchairs, different types of things of how to do things and get around, even traveling. So it opens up a new world, just being involved with the game of hockey and the opportunities it provides.
I would just add, there's a huge mental health benefit to kids getting on the ice, even if you're able-bodied. Like, get on the ice, you had a rough day at school, you're 8 years old, 10 years old, whatever it is, and you're at that practice, but now you're with your buddies or you're with your team or you're with a coach who really gives you that environment and really cares about you. And all of a sudden, like, anything that was going on that day is erased. And you have this 1 hour where you can just do the things that you love to do, or be in an environment with other kids that are doing things they love to do. And all of our adaptive hockey players feel the same way. They have that same outlet. When they get on the ice with Ray every Sunday down up in Waltham, it's an amazing event for them to say, oh, all that other stuff I had going on, I can forget about it right now. And they can go through the whole morning with Bob and Ray, you know, yelling at them or not. and you know, but
Cannot confirm or deny that.
but no, there's some amazing benefits that whether you're able-bodied or disabled and you're playing a sport, being a part of a team, that you can get out of it.
And with the adaptive day, and, you know, just on the, you know, topic of growing and all that, year 3, from year 1 to now, you're like, you know, 200 kids or 200 players are, you know, slated to skate in a couple weeks. You know, how have you seen adaptive day itself, you know, with the momentum behind it, grow from year 1 to now?
We've jumped in numbers, and we probably, that 200 might be light. You know, we talked about on the special side just the jumbos, but like Jeremiah said, the Blizzard team, they're jumping up, and their numbers are very similar. So just on the special side, we've doubled our numbers in the last 2 or 3 years. They're a fairly new program, and they're flying. You know, and it goes right hand in hand with the world of the explosion of autism. So that division is blowing up. It's getting bigger and bigger. And where we started, we had I think we only had 1 hour dedicated to special. Well, now with the amount of kids that we have involved with that, we have 3 different levels. We have an A, a B, and a C. So, you know, if we have a kid who's maybe played some hockey a little bit and kind of aged out, or maybe the game was getting too complicated for him, maybe there's a place for him to play. Or there's that new kid that's never played before, he could play in that division. So there's different things that we're showcasing on that side has grown. On the Warrior division, we have a team coming up from Philly. The first year we just had 1 playing against each other, basically. And now we have 2 teams, an upper and a lower team, and they're traveling up from Philly to play the Boston team. So, and we like to think that spurred. We've got another Warrior team starting up very shortly in Massachusetts. So that's growing too. The Warriors are that division, and Jeremiah pointed out that the the deaf program has started a team. They were always kids that got together a little bit and played. But when we brought them together in that adaptive day, and I saw it, I mean, these are kids that are playing town teams, they're playing club teams, so they're pretty good, and they love the game. But then when they were all together with kids with very similar issues, there was a little hop in their step. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, I'm with my people here.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a little different when you're with your people. It's just no matter what walk of life it is, right?
Yeah.
And I think that spurred a lot on. And, you know, and as soon as we sent out the flyer, I'm getting, you know, calls and emails from people. Hey, my son's never played before. What do we do? Come down and check it out. This is not really a play, you know, come and try it out day. This is more of a showcase day. And if you're interested after you see what you've seen, we're going to connect you with some people that we can get you on a team and learn how to play.
I was going to ask you, like, how I assume one of the big parts of the Adaptive Hockey Day is people coming and just dipping their toe in the water, checking it out, seeing what it's like. You mentioned parents kind of being like, oh, I don't know if I want my son or daughter to get hurt in this. And then they see it and it's a different feeling.
Yep. And Jeremiah brought it up too, the involvement of the Bruins. Like last year, Blades came with Razor came down, Andrew Raycroft. He dropped the first puck on one of the games and hung out with the kids for an hour. So they continue their support with us and things like that. And what kids in New England don't like to see Blades showing up at a rink? You know,
He's the key. When Blades shows up, it's an event.
The kids lose their mind when they see him. It's crazy. Or her, you know, or whatever. I don't know inside.
Whoever's in the costume.
During the event.
That's not a real person.
During the event, we also are hosting our Tier 5 youth state championships that weekend at the same rink. And so we actually have a lot of buzz throughout the day because that's Sunday, the championship day. So there's a handful of championship games across U10, U12, U14 for Tier 5 hockey in the state. And so we get, you know, there's a lot of parents that kind of swing by Rink 1 just to check it out, and they're playing on Rink 2 or Rink 3. And the facility, you know, we have to, you know, give a big thank you to Tim Lovell and his group at Boston Advantage at the Lovell Arena because, you know, we that's a key rink for us in terms of partnership. So, you know, thank you to that group for, you know, having us use that rink that day. And, you know, not only for the state championships, but also for the Adaptive Day.
If I could interrupt real quick, I have to give Kevin Kavanaugh, our executive director, kudos on this. It was his idea. I pitched this day to him, but it was his idea to put it on that weekend with the state playdowns because it's a built-in audience for us.
Yep.
You know, a lot of times we play these events, it's for friends and family. That's it. Now we've got people we don't even know watching this sport. They're leaving their kids' semifinal game to go into the other rink because there's some blind kids over there, right? And they're playing hockey, really? And they're leaving their own kids to watch that. So Kevin had that. He had that idea. He knew it, and he stuck by it, and we went with it. And it's been a nice thing being in that environment. It's
the environment because nice. Also before games, after games, for all of our adaptive hockey players, they go right upstairs. They're involved in the bowling alley. They're, you know, hanging out in the lunchroom. They're hitting golf balls in the simulators. They're doing the different sports that are up there in the different rooms. And so it is a full environment. I think we've created that where, you know, we want to make sure that we're keeping them there the whole time, the whole day. And we have offering for everyone that whether you're just going to watch as a spectator or you're a participant that day, there's a lot of different things you can be taking and getting involved in.
Ray, one thing you mentioned, and we've talked a little bit about this, is you know, prep players and high school players helping out, junior Eagles jumping on the ice to help out. How do you see, I mean, kids are young, they're impressionable, they may not have a lot of certain life experiences. How do you see them change as well, helping out with these events and on the ice?
Well, you know, it's been a wide range of kids. There's been some kids, I'm not going to lie to you, where they probably got told they have to do that because they screwed up on something, right? So there's a little bit of penance. And then you get kids that are just randomly just out of the blue calling me up and saying, I'd like to get my son involved or whatever. And one of the exercises that I always do is I don't want to talk to you, mom and dad. I want to talk to the student. They're usually getting into high school. It's time for them to grow up a little bit and take some ownership. And you tell me you're coming. You tell me you want to come. And we're watching kids from that 8th or 9th year grade, and they're growing. By the end, they're driving themselves to practice, right? And they're over and they're coming over to you and they're asking you for a recommendation for college, right? They're doing all that kind of stuff. So seeing them grow, it's been something that's a great feeling to watch that, but never anticipated that being part of the whole adaptive world. And I know other programs, I've talked to other coaches and they feel the same way. That kid came before and they couldn't even stand by themselves. And now they're driving themselves and they're, running companies and they're coming back. I love that. You know what I mean? They're coming back later on and like, hey, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, dude, can I work for you? You know what I mean? It's like, and it's some fun stuff. And they come home from college breaks. Hey, coach, can I get on the ice and skate with you guys again? I miss you guys, and great story I have with that is we always do some partnerships with different colleges and high schools, prep schools, and we've been going to Boston College for years. So when we first started, we didn't have a lot of kids in the program. We were going off to a tournament and we hadn't had any games yet. And I was doing some work for one of their assistant coaches, who's now the head coach at UConn, Mike Kavanaugh. So I was telling Mike, and I was doing some work for him, and I was telling him our dilemma, and he said, we want to do something like that at BC. We'll host you for the day. Why don't we do that? So we jumped over there, and we've been doing it now for, 10, 12 years that we go there once a year, and we hang out with them. We put 3 jumbos on a line and then 2 eagles, and play a little game together and go back and forth. And fast forward to 2 years ago, the kid from BC, I forget his name, he won College Athlete of the Year on
Ryan
hockey.
Leonard?
Yeah, no, wasn't
Will
Leonard.
Smith.
Nope. The other
They
kid.
have so many.
Gutro got what's heading over there, and he's getting all the press at the convention, right? And everybody's coming up to him saying all kinds of nice stuff, and I'm just sitting back waiting. And his mom was there, and I said, "Is that your son?" And she said, "He sure is." I said, "He's a better kid than he is a hockey player." She's like, "Wait, what's that supposed to mean?" I said, "He stayed on the ice for 3 hours, shaking hands, taking pictures, signing autographs. He's a great." And on cue, he turns and goes, "Coach Ray, what's up? How are the jumbos?" Right? So it was like, oh yeah, this is great. So that kid at that level, how it affected him. You know what I mean? He's playing in the pros now, right? And it's just good stuff how it really affects those kids just as much as it affects our kids. It's a great story. It's good stuff. If you walk away from an hour with any one of these disciplines and you're not happy, you gotta figure something out, because it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Do you want to skate fast? For 50 years, Laura Stam instructors have taught youth players to pros how to skate correctly, powerfully, and fast. Players who attend Laura Stam power skating programs learn how to skate fast by learning how to execute every maneuver in hockey. They become powerful, stable, efficient, and explosively fast skaters. If you can't wait for a clinic, join our subscription skills video service, and we'll show you the skills taught at our clinics in an easy-to-use video format with training plans to guide your training. Register or subscribe now at laurastam.com. That's LauraStamm.com. You can learn to skate fast.
I was just going to add, all these volunteers that we bring through the adaptive day or anytime going to one of Ray's practices, they want to give back and they want to be involved. And a lot of them haven't been around blind hockey or even sled hockey. And so there's a bit of an appeal for something different that they are not a part of.
Yeah.
But they also really want to give back. And our New England, Massachusetts hockey community of high school players is unbelievable. They want to be a part of things. And so, we're very thankful for our local partners on, the high school level for, getting a lot of kids there that day.
You were mentioning that it's mainly Minnesota, Mass, New York, and a little bit of New Jersey. Do you guys ever get kids coming from other New England states, Connecticut, Vermont, Maine, coming to your events?
Yeah, not this day itself. Well, some of the disciplines that don't have as many kids. With the special, like I said, we have a huge number, so we kind of limit to just Massachusetts. But on the blind side, we don't have as many athletes yet. So we've a kid from Maine comes down, and then some Jersey guys come up. So on that side, they will definitely jump in. They have programs all across.
And you have a Warrior team coming up from Philly.
From Philly, yeah.
This year.
Yep. We don't go Boston against Boston because that might get ugly.
Boston against Philly. I don't know if that's much better.
It's got potential too. It really does. That's why we're going to put them in the different rink in case it does get ugly. But I've been promised that it won't. But we'll see. It'll be the second game of their series because they're going to take it up to a level on Saturday night. They came down for 2 games, and Saturday night they're going to play at Lars Anderson over in Brookline, the outside rink. Yeah,
great rink.
So kind of give that feel of Field of Dreams kind of thing on the ice outside, and then Sunday they'll do that with the adaptive day with us. So game 2 of a series sometimes gets chippy, so you never know, right?
I like that. Kip, will you be there on the adaptive day?
Yeah, I plan to be there. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And how have you seen it change over the last couple of years, like the event itself, if you've been there the last 2?
Just the growth. I mean, it's like these guys have mentioned, it's fun to sit there and watch the athletes that are disabled enjoying themselves, but then to watch the high school and the college kids and the families really getting involved and taking a shine to what's going on and looking for additional ways that they can help out and stay involved. And that's how we grow the game. And then getting back to the point of people coming in from other states. I mean, with sled hockey, that's what we used to do is we'd have people come down from Maine and Vermont to skate on a Monday or Wednesday night here in Dorchester for 2 hours and then turn around and go home. They get the experience and the exposure and then go back and start a club team up in their area. And then it gave us a chance another team to go play against. So that's how we grow the game.
We recently did a collaboration with the River School where we did a youth sled clinic on a Saturday morning. We had 4 hours, and they had some kids from New Hampshire. They had, I think, a young girl from Jersey. They came up, and same thing. Just invite everybody up. Let's get it together. Let's get them going. And then, like you said, the drive home for 3 hours just to skate one. But the passion's there.
It's worth it.
It's got to do it, and hopefully that gets bled over to them when they bring it home, and then they start doing it, and then we're all good,
And Kip's a big fan favorite there. He brings his medals. He's got like 5 medals on him.
Clanking it, clanking together.
Exactly.
Yeah, which one do you want to see?
Hey, he's the goods. I know who to bring. All right. He dropped the first puck too. You know what I mean? We got that.
He's the
too.
draw.
He's the draw. All right. They're not coming to see me and Jeremiah. They come to see him.
It's incredible. Like I have not seen blind hockey. I haven't dove into it too deep, but it's what you guys are doing and the growth. And Ray, I mean, for you, like starting it, when you started the jumbos, could you have imagined, it became kind of, I don't want to say mainstream, but it has gotten to this point and it seems to be only growing?
I think it's a great, it's parallel to, I think, kids these days. I think when I grew up, I'm in my 50s, okay? And I don't think kids with our kids' issues were accepted as much as they are now. You know what I mean? So it's nice. It's really good to see. And that's translated to hockey, where kids are being more accepted when they're a little bit different. Back in the day, I think when we grew up, they were like, come on, kid, get out of here, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a great thing to see. And I love, and I love it where we've got some kids that are progressing to the point where they're getting good that I don't know if you should be here anymore. You should be going to some bigger stuff. You know what I mean? You're doing really well. And that's a great thing to do. And Kip's seen it. He's seen kids that are just starting and then they're making the national team. You know what I mean? That's like one of the most rewarding things to see that kind of growth. And they're going to get that. There'll be kids all over the place. And we are very lucky here in Mass in far as the role models that these kids also have. A gold medal guy right there who's going to be there with you. We've got on our deaf program, the head coach, he's played international stuff. He's got gold medals. He's got silver medals. And that's something that those kids can see and say, hey, he's in the same world I am. I can reach those goals. He's nobody special. He's my neighbor. He lives right across the street, right? And he's doing that shit. Take that one off. I told my wife I wouldn't, but I did.
That's okay.
Right? Okay, and it's the same. And it's the same. And it's the same.
44 minutes in.
It's the same thing with a Sandy amputee limb difference kid. We got Brian Hughes, and he's played in some international play, and he's my
Game-winning goal versus Russia.
Yeah, against Russia. You know, and you got Dr. Dave Condell, he's on the cutting edge of all that kind of world. And these kids, these are right here in our state, and the kids can access all that stuff. It's good. It's good. It's a good place to be. We're not in some rural place where they've got to drive 400 miles to get to a rink.
Nebraska.
Or whatever. And then they're paying $1,000 a sheet, right? It's like crazy. We've got it all over this place, and we've got a bunch of role models. So this is a good time to get involved. Parents need to know that these aren't just nobodies that are going to be helping your kids. This is good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And I say Nebraska, we actually did training camp years ago in Nebraska. And it was in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
So,
God. And hopefully those areas get this. Like, that's the other thing too, I think, is like we've talked about, this is kind of just the beginning, it feels like Mass, Minnesota, New York, a little bit of New Jersey, but hopefully as time goes along, there's more states involved in this, I would assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. It's good. But like I brag about Mass all the time. Like when we go
We
to
should always
meetings-
plant the flag.
Yeah, when we go to USA hockey meetings and we're telling stories, you know, we're doing some good stuff here. We'll continue to do good stuff, but kids are lucky and they should be jumping in because it's a good time.
It sure is. So that's February 22nd, 10:20 to 6:10 at Level. Go check it out. It sounds like it's going to be a blast. And for kids who want to help and volunteer, they should hit you up, Ray. Sounds like.
Yeah, or Jeremiah. You know, obviously.
No mums and dads calling.
It's all about growth, right? We got to make them grow all the time. But you know, there's only a certain amount of kids that we can do where, you know, you don't want 400 kids standing around. So we have a list and we have some teams that we already have involved, but there are definitely some spots available for some different kinds of roles. There's always a role that we can get. And if not so much this event, we've got a lot of other events coming up that, you know, all we'd love to take those kids' names and get going and get involved. And I think one of the things we forgot
stands a cheer.
you know, that's one of the things me and Jeremiah talked about. You know, even if a team wants to just be part of the cheering club, right? And that's one of the things. We recently did a game up at Brooks, and the atmosphere that the student body brought to the game that we played up there was awesome. Was awesome. And the kids were so pumped because when they scored a goal and they ran through the lines high-fiving, and then they continued over to the boards and smashed up against the glass like they've seen everybody do in the real stuff, right? And there's kids on the other side cheering them on, you know? So those are the kinds of things where there's roles all over the place, you know? Sometimes it's pushing pucks and sometimes it's running drills, right?
Sometimes it's just cheering.
Sometimes it's just cheering.
Just going nuts.
Like, listen, if you want to be there, you just take whatever role you can take. You know, we all have done that on ice.
Evan, I would just say on this adaptive day, it is one of our most proudest days that we're a part of in Massachusetts. And, you know, real huge thank you to Ray and his entire committee. But we are so proud to showcase these athletes and to have them be seen. So please come out. Please check it out. That it's an awesome day.
I think our long game is in a couple of years, we're going to take all 3 sheets of ice at Levels. Right now, we kind of keep everything just to the one. We're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. We're going to take all 3 over. Well, we can't take 3 because the championship games are in the middle.
Right.
So we'll take care of the 2. We'll take over the 2.
Someday, maybe 3.
The end goal should be all 10 at the New England Sports Center.
That's right.
Well, you know,
They do enough already.
They do a lot of stuff, and they're very good. And they've hosted the disabled national tournament where they had all the disciplines at one point, right? It was 14 or something like that, way back. It was a while ago.
It all runs together. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah. So there's a perfect example of growth that adaptive or disabled hockey has come, where years ago they would have one tournament at the end of the year with all the disciplines. Well, now they've gotten so big, they've realized it's just too much. So now there's a national sled tournament, there's a national warrior tournament, there's a national so it's split up because of the numbers have grown over the last 10 years, 15 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's very good. It's a great
With
size.
the sled, we'll have 75 teams.
Yeah.
For that class.
Exactly. And same thing with the Warriors. There'll be 60, 75 teams.
Yeah.
That's a big growth area too, is the Warriors. That's a huge growth. They're blessed. Their numbers are big.
So February 22nd, everybody should make sure to go check that out. I want to switch gears a little bit to just some mass hockey stuff, big picture things. Jeremiah, I'm curious we talk a lot about rinks, and seems like, with town hockey, there's town versus club and what's what. How do you see town hockey sustaining itself during this time? I know the Bruins are very involved in something like that, but how do you see town hockey surviving through a lot of the club stuff?
Those are some strong words. Surviving, they are surviving. They're doing very well, actually. And there's always a give and take on where the youngest of kids are going to play. Many of our club partners have U6 programs, U8 programs, but our town programs are also the ones that are supported with the Bruins on the Learn to Play Hockey programs. And so when you look at the state in total, we have over 200 programs in the state. About 100 are club and 100 or so are town programs. And, when we talk about growth, the growth numbers today are on the female side. We're not growing on the youth side, which is predominantly male. And then we are growing in the adaptive area and a few others. But, how do we get, you said survive. I wouldn't categorize it as that, but I would just say, we want to make sure, like you said, our rink partners are also in a line with our local towns. And not many of our towns own these rinks anymore. And, if you could put a rink where there's a Dunkin' Donuts in every single town, we would look like Minnesota. And then you have to get rid of all the other sports that our kids do.
Yeah.
So, the comparison isn't fair. But at the end of the day, our town programs are, one, they have great staff in terms of their board of directors, their coaches. There's a lot of people that are doing a lot of different things, working very hard to grow the game in their local areas. And so, Mass Hockey is here to support them. We have a growth coordinator that works with Kevin Kavanaugh and his staff. We have people that, and maybe I should explain that too. So Mass Hockey has, 100 or so volunteers, which the president is on the volunteer side. But then Kevin Kavanaugh is our executive director. He has 3 employees that work for him as well. And so with 4 employees, they are the resource for all of our town programs in this state. When you have questions about growth, when you have questions about what should I do with the competing maybe club program in my area. And there's a lot of different solutions that are out there. And one of them is really just communicating and working together. There are programs in the state that run middle school leagues that have town and club programs playing each other. And there's also, some programs in the state that have U8 and U6 town and club teams in the same division, in the same bracket, kind of working together. So there are ways that we can all work together. And, I don't want Massachusetts to be looked at as, well, you have all your great club programs and then you have your town programs and the towns are suffering. The towns can get creative and have done a really good job of staying, in their lane, but at the same time, continue to grow in their local community.
Has it been tough with, you mentioned the rink part of it where it's not town-owned rinks. We see private equity firms now buying some rinks. What kind of challenges has that presented for you guys, or, not challenges too?
Well, they end up being our partners too. And there's several leagues across all of New England where you have new private equity owners or new owners of programs that are now part of Mass Hockey Board, or that are now part of, committees that report up into Mass Hockey. And so our goal is to work with all of them. And, we do not want to keep a kid off the ice. And if somebody signs up to play on a team and pays the tuition to play on a team, we are supporting them to play hockey. And we don't, there are a lot of new kind of thoughts and rules around things that maybe are at a national level, but at the local Massachusetts hockey level, we are always going to do what's best for all the players.
And just going back to growth a little bit, you mentioned how much girls hockey has grown. I did a story a couple of years ago that was on our cover, just how much it's exploded in New England in the last 20, 30 years, 15 years. And it's, even in the last decade, it's especially, if you compare it to the boys number, it's meteoric. And, whether it's co-ops in high school, it's becoming more available at the high school level, and, grassroots at the youth level. Where have you seen kind of girls hockey, come from when you first got involved in Mass hockey to now, and where's it going?
Again, it's the largest it's where the largest investments are being made in private equity, in all the investments across marketing firms, all the investments in social media are going into women's sports. And there's more women coaches today, which is amazing. There's more, women's, not just hockey, all sports. You're seeing a huge explosion. And so hockey is also one where, the numbers will continue to grow because not everybody plays hockey, right, on the female side. And so there's an allure to, add those girls maybe in your town that aren't playing. There's an allure to, I know there's a high school locally, they didn't have enough kids for a JV team. They went and asked a bunch of field hockey players, hey, do you guys want to play? And they all said, yeah, let's try it out. And so, guess what? They have a JV team, and they have a few kids that, maybe never skated before, but now they have a JV team, and so they can play, which is great. And so things like that, I think you just have to continue to support it. But there is a machine behind investment in female sports in this country that is very strong, and I expect that to continue.
Yeah, no, I remember talking to Dan and Jerry, the coach down at Duxbury, and he was saying, when he first started, the JV team would be like 4 players on JV, and the fourth line and third pair of D would play down from varsity. And now they have like enough for a JV team, even like the numbers are soaring. So it's great to see.
Yep.
One thing, this isn't youth, this is more older. One thing that I hear from people, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, Jeremiah. People look at the NHL draft numbers from Mass from the past versus now, and they say, oh, so much fewer kids are getting drafted out of Massachusetts now. And I always say, well, you can look at certain things, but one thing is that more kids play around the country. You have better players around the world, yes, of course. But you have better players in Florida now than you did 20 years ago, better players than you did in Texas now than you did 20 years ago. Is there anything that Mass could do differently, do you think, that could help with players going 14, from age 14 to 18, developing towards, being their best?
Yeah, so this is a major topic right now with the Mass Hockey Board. It's not necessarily how do we get the 2008 numbers up. It's not that.
Of course.
It's not one particular
more first round
year.
picks.
Yeah, it's not that. It's really thinking about the beginning of development and what does development even mean. Our first board meeting in September, when my first board meeting that I ran for Mass Hockey this past September, the first thing I said was, okay, to this group of 150 people, what does development mean to you? Because if every single person in this room said what they thought development meant, we're going to get 150 different answers.
Be there a long time.
So we have an amazing group from not only on the boys' side, but also on the female side in our player development locally. And we are making some, we're adding back, I think it's not going to happen this fall or this spring, but a year from now, we'll add back a 14 development camp, a college series that we used to do pre-COVID. We'll be adding back some different focus for 12 and 13-year-olds. I think it starts in those most impressionable ages. And, at the end of the day, it's focusing on development, not focusing on winning, not focusing on all these other things that maybe coaches or programs get, a little distracted from. And really, at the end of the day, these kids, if they want to do it, they will. And, we have several success stories that are very live and very active in the NCAA Division I today, in the NHL and on the Olympic team, et cetera, that are great role models for these kids today. And so, I expect that to continue, and I'm, really excited to see kind of what's coming down the pike, because there's a lot of good players that we know of, and there's probably even more that we don't know of.
I was going to say, the amount of kids that have come out of Mass the last couple of years that are high profile, high draft picks, your Will Smiths, your Ryan Leonards. I mean, those are big role models, I know, for kids in the youth ages, I would assume. So it's good that that's happening. One of the things I mentioned, you were coming on, Jeremiah, and someone asked me, they were like, I guess with the youth club, parents deal with club in town on the weekend if kids are on the same team. And they mentioned that lacrosse does it 2 separate days, I guess. I guess they do youth one day and club the next, or vice versa. Would that ever be something that Mass Hockey would look into doing? Like you can only do club on Saturday, you can only do town on Sunday, or is that not possible?
So we don't run any leagues. We don't run any teams.
Of course.
We can make recommendations on anything you want us to recommend.
But it doesn't mean
But it doesn't mean it's going to happen. So again, that goes back to the league owners, the rink owners, and if the model exists, it's worth trying. I think you can try that at the town level. I think there are certain, let's look at the NEGHL, the girls club program, from U14 and higher, especially at the tier 1 level. They don't play. They only play on Saturday or on Sundays. So there's no games on Fridays, Saturdays. So those girls can participate in their high school sports in the fall. But that model works really well for the NEGHL. So there are instances where we have seen that be successful. It's not predominant, and midget hockey, totally different. They have 5-game showcases every weekend in the fall. And then in the youth level, it's definitely hard to kind of put those together. But again, if the town and the club team might be working together and they can be local and they have the facilities, I know it does happen on the South Shore, they do Saturday/Sunday stuff.
We're all, everybody's from Mass here, and I know that, everybody has some sort of experience with Massachusetts high school hockey. And I was curious, like, where do you think, I know it has not a ton to do with you, Jeremiah, with Mass hockey, but everybody sees it. And I'm curious what you think of the state of Mass high school hockey. If anybody, Ray, Kip, you guys want to weigh in, if you guys watch it a little bit or have been following it, like the state of it in terms of, kids are leaving for prep. It feels like a little bit earlier than they have before. I'm curious if you guys have any thoughts on that.
I had one of my boys went and played junior, so he'd never experienced the high school part. And then one of my guys stayed in his town team. And I think one of the things that I regretted that him jumping to the junior level that you can't duplicate there is that excitement and that feel that you get in high school when you're playing for your high school team and the whole student body's there cheering you on, and you got senior night and you got all that kind of stuff. I think that's one of the problems that when you jump to that next level too quick, you lose all that stuff. You know what I mean? And that's one of my regrets. I think my son probably, I don't think he regrets on a hockey level, but I think he regrets on an experience level. You know what I mean? That's one of the things that high school hockey can bring for our kids as a draw, right? Like a Hingham, right? There's some great hockey over there. There's a great hockey town, and you could probably name a whole bunch of them that have both. They have really good hockey and they have really good atmosphere, correct? Right?
Yeah. There's a lot
of towns that have that, right? That are doing that right because they're offering good products on both sides.
And Kip, you were at Tabor, right?
Yes. So I'm guilty. I left and went to prep school.
Yeah.
No, and I think they're quite like, and kids, and you mentioned this too, Ray, like kids on the boys' side, Pat, we talk about this all the time. On the girls' side, they stay. There's really nowhere else to go. For boys, you do have kids jumping earlier, and have a lot of success at junior. Like I think that's a huge area of planting the flag and a good thing for prep and a good thing for Mass and New England hockey. But I'm curious, like if any of you guys think too many are jumping, or if there is sort of an issue. Not that you can control it or anything like that, but I'm just kind of curious what you guys think.
I think it's great for these kids to have options.
Yes.
I think that, one, the local MIA hockey environment and be in your town and stay there and play 4 years. And if that's what you want, you should do that. If that's the best thing for your family, that's what you should do. If you jump and go play and prep after maybe 1 or 2 years in your local town, or maybe you went right away, that's a family decision. And again, like going back to what I said earlier, like Massachusetts hockey is going to support all these options. And there's no one perfect development path for any kid educationally or physically or, as a very specific hockey player. Bob Mancini at USA Hockey and I had a conversation the other day, and I don't want to go down this road on the development league.
We won't. Well, that is another day, Jeremiah.
We'll bring Kevin Cavanaugh in for that
Kevin
one.
can come in for that.
But Mancini and I were talking about development, and he's okay if they find kids that were not eventually in that development league, and they will still find kids that maybe weren't in that. And so, it's not necessarily a one size fits all, model these days. And I definitely want everyone to know that at Mass Hockey, we're here to support your journey. And we want it to be also a holistic journey where it's not just about hockey, it's about growing as a person and getting the right education that, you want and your family wants.
Yeah. There's a lot of paths. A lot of paths.
And in Massachusetts, that genie's out of the bottle. You ain't putting it back.
No, you're not. You're absolutely not.
It is what it is.
It is. And it grows all the time.
Well, I think just along the line of options, and like we've talked about it, where it's, it's just not a one size fits all like it might be in Minnesota. And, you have anecdotally like a Caroline Doherty who plays 4 years at Hingham, and now she's having success at Williston, and she gets that Division I commitment while she's playing public high school hockey. So it can be done. Or like a Jen Birolini from Pembroke who plays 3 years of high school hockey, does 2 years at Tabor, and she gets Division I commitment. So like it kind of works out. And like if the right eyes will be watching, right? Like that's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's right.
It's so interesting because like on the girls side, it's a little more streamlined, and I think a lot of people point to like Minnesota, what they're doing. But I just think with Massachusetts, my own opinion, you're right, Ray. Like it's a different landscape. It's out of the bottle. It's not, like I did a Matignon oral history recently on the glory days of Matignon High School, and that was crazy. And like the Tom Barrasso going from, backstopping Walpole and then going to winning a Calder and a Vezina with the Buffalo Sabres. Like that's not happening anymore. That just isn't happening anymore. And I think with the growth of junior hockey, that's sometimes you often have to play juniors before going to college. And I think that players navigate it differently. Jeremiah. So I agree with you on that. Friendly reminder, I think we've hit on everything today, Pat, right?
I think so. And I do apologize. We didn't mean to put the interrogation light on you.
These lights are pretty bright. Some private equity, Jeremiah. Private equity. What do you think of that?
Keep moving, Jeremiah. Keep moving.
I can take it.
Say one wrong thing.
Exactly.
I want to remind people, February 22nd, 10:20 a.m. to 6:10 p.m. at Lovell, Mass Hockey's third Adaptive Hockey Day. Ray will be there. Kip will be there. Jeremiah,
I'll be there with a lot of volunteers.
That's right.
I do want to say thank you to those volunteers. So we have this year, for the second year in a row, the entire varsity and junior varsity team at Thayer Academy, boys and girls, will all be in attendance. So thank you to Coach Heimovitz and Coach Flynn for arranging that with their teams.
Yeah. That's awesome.
One of the things I'd love to add too is Jeremiah talked about the growth of the female side of hockey. That's also happening in adaptive too. I think probably when you started, it was male dominated. Where I think actually Minnesota just did an all girls sled team. So it's happening. They're getting involved in that side of hockey also.
And we've got a women's U.S. development team.
That's on the verge of getting in there, right?
They have done international competitions, which was a precursor, so that hopefully they can get it into the Paralympics for the 2030 games.
Wow.
Which, fingers crossed, because the Erica McKees and the Kelsey DeClaudios, they deserve that opportunity. They are the pioneers for the women's sled hockey in this country.
And that's growing too, as
Yes.
you said.
Yeah.
We got the Catherine Faraday, who's she's a local girl.
Yeah. I think 10% of my program's girls now.
Wow.
Where before it was 1 or 2. So it's good.
And that's only going to grow.
Yep.
I think we've hit everything. Anything, Pat?
Yeah, I mean, we've thrown a lot of information at people today, and just for anyone listening, like where would the best place for them to go to find more information, whether on social or on
all
on
socials?
Google?
It's all there.
Yeah.
That's Adaptive Hockey. We've got our stuff out there, and if you go to Mass's website, what we have is an adaptive page where there'll be different programs that are USA Hockey registered programs with contacts with them. So like if you're a kid maybe on the Cape, maybe you'll call the Blizzards as opposed to me if you're maybe living in Waltham or in our area. So there's different options for people. We're not like pushing one program. Whoever's there, we put all that information up and we give you the opportunity to reach out to them and whatever fits, just like our hockey, whatever fits you. You know what I mean? You do you. These programs are there for you. We're getting more. We're doing more options. So maybe less driving, more options. And it's all out there. Just start from there.
Never a bad thing.
I would just finish with, we're the third largest affiliate in USA Hockey, and we're the second largest adaptive affiliate in USA Hockey. And so there are a ton of resources for people. So our website's mahockey.org. Kevin Kavanaugh is our executive director. He has 3 on his staff, as I mentioned earlier, and we're all here to support everyone. If you go to the adaptive page that Ray's talking about on our website, the flyer for the 22nd of February is there. There's a QR code for a bunch of information on there. And please come out. Please share it with your friends and family. And we'd love to see a big crowd, especially, as Ray said, that cheering section. It'll feel like a MIA playoff game.
Yeah. And like you said, we've got some great things planned for that. Blades is coming. We're gonna try to set the tone a little bit. We got the national anthem, and we will have an interpreter standing next to that person singing the national anthem, and so that those guys can access that part of the game too. That sometimes they don't get that opportunity. So we're doing some good stuff, guys. Kip's dropped pucks before for opening games and different things. So it'll be a fun day. It's a fun day.
It sounds incredible.
And the kids always get a little bit of swag to play. You can't have hockey without some swag.
Well, you sent me that email, and you were like, "and some swag" at the bottom. It's like you're burying the lead.
That's your number one. That's the full.
Old letters.
It's all about the swag. A little bit of food. The kids get fed upstairs. All the players get fed. And a little bit of swag to walk out the door with. So even if they don't have a great time, they'll look good when they leave.
Hey, before we go, I do want to say thank you to you, Evan.
Yes,
and Patrick.
thank you guys for having us.
Really appreciate you guys for all that you're doing for Massachusetts and New England hockey, and whether it be from the youth levels to high school to college. Thank you so much for spreading the word.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We have some more tough questions here. Well, the good we do. Let's have some tough ones. Well, thank you guys for coming in. It's been awesome. Again, February 22nd, 10:20 to 6:10 at Lovell, Adaptive Hockey Day. This has been great.
And keep your eyes peeled to Peacock and NBC.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Soon.
I made sure to mention that earlier, so we got it twice at the end there. So whenever someone's listening, hopefully they get it.
Not just that, but the live stuff coming through, right?
Yep.
Going for 3 next month. Going for all 3
I will
goals.
say,
right?
actually, for rink owners, be ready for a huge influx of new participants in youth hockey once we get our 3 gold medals here in the next month and a half.
That's right. Planting the flag. Well, thank you guys for coming in. And Pat, this has been awesome. It was a little different for us. We're not talking as much. Our voices we let them handle it today, which was kind of nice.
See you same time next year.
That's right. Yeah, it sounds good to me.
Good.
Well, anyway, that is RinkWise. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you at the rinks.